the fucking trigger.
Hello everyone. Today I'm bringing you a new, dramatic thriller. The story begins with a man carrying a bag of weapons walking through airport security. Miraculously, he passes the inspection. The security officer, who sees weapons in the bag on the monitor, pretends not to notice. After answering a phone call, the officer excuses herself, claiming she feels unwell, and leaves his post. The man successfully boards a flight from Dubai to London with the bag. Shortly after takeoff, a girl in a red dress finds a bullet in the restroom by accident. Frightened, she hurries back to her seat and shows the bullet to her equally shocked companion. Bullets should not exist on a plane. A man with white hair notices the girl's anxiety and approaches her. She shares her discovery with him. The man examines the bullet and appears unsettled, but quickly reassures the girl, asking her to stay calm and promising to report the matter to the crew. He then heads toward the first-class cabin. However, instead of informing the crew, the white-haired man discreetly joins his companion, Stuart. It turns out one of their accomplices accidentally dropped the bullet in the restroom. Realizing the situation could unravel soon, Stuart instructs the man to keep the girl calm, but they both know they don't have much time. They decide to move forward with their hijacking plan. Stuart gives the white-haired man a green hat as the signal to begin. The man returns to the economic class cabin and puts on the hat. Their accomplices immediately understand the signal. One of them quickly retrieves a toiletry bag from a suitcase, goes into the restroom, and pulls out a handgun, loading it with bullets. 5 minutes later, the hijackers reveal their weapons, swiftly taking control of the cabin. Terrified, the passengers remain seated, too afraid to make any moves. The hijackers then seize a flight attendant and use the intercom to threaten the passengers, warning that no one will get hurt if they stay seated and follow instructions. Next, they begin confiscating all communication devices from the passengers. Meanwhile, male flight attendant Arthur takes advantage of the hijackers' distraction to quietly inform Captain Robin in the cockpit about the hijacking. Unfortunately, a hijacker spots him and quickly intervenes. The captain sees the hijackers in the cabin through the surveillance system and immediately contacts the security control center in Dubai. He reports a security incident on board and requests ground support. However, the hijackers already know detailed information about the crew. They bring a blonde flight attendant, Colette, who happens to be Captain Robin's lover, to the cockpit door and mention the hotel where they stayed the night before, threatening the captain to open the door. To save Colette, Robin ignores the co-pilot's objections and even injures her by throwing a cup at her face. Eventually, he opens the cockpit door. Under the hijackers' threats, Robin lies to the ground staff, claiming the incident is just a few drunken passengers causing trouble and that the situation is under control. Hearing this, the ground staff relaxes. The hijackers then force Robin to shut down the airplane's Wi-Fi network. Before the network goes offline, a black passenger named Sam secretly takes out his phone and quickly sends a text message to his ex-wife, Marcia. He tells her something is wrong on the plane, but promises to return safely. After receiving the message, Marcia becomes anxious. Her current boyfriend, Daniel, a detective, uses his connections to confirm that no incidents were reported on the flight. This news slightly calms Marcia and her son, Kai. Why is Sam so confident that he will be safe? He is a negotiation expert, skilled at persuading others by weighing the pros and cons. He observed them calmly and noticed some unusual behavior from the hijackers. Then, he deliberately hands his phone to the hijacker leader, Stuart. Surprised, Stuart asks why Sam would risk coming forward just to hand over his phone. But Sam's following words leave Stuart even more shocked.
I don't care about any of those people. Just want to get home to my family.
Sam tells the hijackers that there are over 200 people on board, but they are only a small group. If anything goes wrong, the plane could crash midway. He offers to help them if they let him return home safely. The hijackers are stunned that someone would volunteer to assist them. They checked Sam's passport but found no indication of any particular background. Sam then analyzes their situation, pointing out that the white-haired man had approached them in a rush earlier, which indicates their plan had gone awry and they were forced to act prematurely. He also notes that over 6 hours remain until the flight reaches its destination, leaving plenty of time for more complications to arise. Meanwhile, two brave passengers in the back row of the economic class improvise weapons by pulling wires from the seats and stuffing socks with golf balls. When one of the hijackers walks by, they launch a coordinated attack, managing to knock the gun out of his hand. However, the other hijackers quickly intervene, subduing and beating the two passengers. While the hijackers search for the dropped gun, Sam picks it up but promptly hands it back to them. This unexpected action causes the hijackers to lower their guard toward him. Sam then hands them a note that says, "The pilot is a problem." Curious, the hijacker leader, Stuart, asks why. Sam explains that the captain's role is limited to takeoff and landing, as the plane operates on autopilot for most of the flight. If the captain remains in the cockpit, he might change the flight path. To confirm this, Stuart confronts the captain, who admits that autopilot controls the flight during cruising. Convinced, the captain is pulled out of the cockpit. This is precisely the outcome Sam had hoped for. Sam establishes a covert communication channel with the captain using a game console from his seat. Through this connection, the captain informs Sam that the dispatch center on the ground has no idea what's happening on the plane. Sam pretends to cooperate with the hijackers to get them to lower their guard while looking for an opportunity to save everyone on board. The captain reveals that once the plane enters Iraqi airspace, local aviation control will contact the captain directly for confirmation. If there is no response, fighter jets will be dispatched immediately. Soon, a communication request from the ground Iraq arrives, asking to speak with the captain. Sam warns the hijackers that they must respond quickly, or the plane could be shot down by fighter jets at any moment. After some hesitation, the hijackers decide to let the captain return to the cockpit. Robin successfully verifies his identity, but secretly adjusts the flight path before leaving his seat. Meanwhile, a Dubai aviation staff member notices inconsistencies in the captain's earlier report. They review the boarding surveillance footage and discover suspicious behavior from an airport security officer named Neela. When the staff member goes to Neela's home, they find that both Neela and her husband have been killed. As the staff member is about to leave, a hijacker disguised as a cleaner appears and shoots him. In the UK's Air Traffic Control Center, a late-arriving staff member, Alice, learns about the situation from her colleagues. She notices that the flight path has deviated 3 degrees. According to post-9/11 protocols, any deviation in a flight's path is considered a distress signal. The ground team deduces that someone on board is signaling for help, aligning with Sam and the captain's plan. Knowing the distress signal has been sent, the captain makes eye contact with Sam to confirm the next step in their plan. At this moment, an elderly couple in the first class begins arguing about something. They aren't speaking English, so Sam and the curly-haired passenger next to him, Hugo, can't understand. Curious, Hugo tries to discover what's happening, but the distressed woman refuses to explain, claiming it's nothing. A girl nearby, however, understands their language and tells Sam and Hugo that the old man is saying the hijackers' guns are fake and only loaded with blanks. Hearing this, Hugo instantly becomes confident and tries to convince Sam to join him in overpowering the hijackers. Cautious Sam points out that the hijackers seem highly organized and wouldn't take the risk of using fake guns. He urges Hugo not to act recklessly. Still, Hugo insists they can't waste this opportunity and asks the girl to ask the old man why he's so sure the guns are fake. The elderly man's wife strongly objects, but the man eventually tells the girl that he has served in the Egyptian military for over 30 years and has dealt with numerous hijackings. He explains that it's rare for real bullets to be used in such situations. Most are blanks. Blanks only make noise without firing shells and are meant to intimidate. He also points out that using real bullets could accidentally puncture the cabin, causing a loss of pressure. Since the earlier gunfire didn't damage the plane, he deduces the guns must be loaded with blanks. Hugo becomes more determined, suggesting they can confirm by checking the floor for shell casings. Pretending to feel sick, he writes a note and then gags himself to simulate vomiting. On his way back from the restroom, he discreetly tosses the note toward the back of the cabin. A nearby female passenger takes the risk of picking it up. The note reads, "Check the floor for bullet casing. If none are found, turn on your overhead reading light." The woman starts searching the floor but is noticed by a hijacker. Quick thinking, she drops her glasses on the ground and pretends she is looking for them, successfully avoiding suspicion. She then turns on her overhead reading light to signal Hugo. Hugo informs Sam that there are no casings on the floor, but Sam remains cautious, insisting it's too risky to act without certainty. Meanwhile, ground control contacts the cockpit, questioning the captain about the flight path deviation. The captain lies, claiming he adjusted the route due to wind conditions. However, ground control demands that he return to the original course. Noticing that the captain is talking to someone, Stuart angrily strikes him in the head with a gun. Sam quickly intervenes, reminding Stuart that the plane can only land with the captain. His bold action enrages Stuart, who threatens to punish him. Stuart attempts to attack Sam, but grabs and immobilizes him by the wrist. Another hijacker threatens the other passengers with a gun, forcing Sam to let go. The hijacker leader, Stuart, demands Sam smile and prepare to be struck in the head with a gun stock, creating a tense standoff. Sam decides to take a gamble. He asks the girl to confirm with the old man whether the guns are loaded with blanks. Meanwhile, male flight attendant Arthur notices that the person in the back is searching for a shell casing and informs Sam that the girl in the red dress found a bullet in the restroom shortly after takeoff. Sam instructs the old man to draw a diagram showing the difference between blanks and real bullets and has the girl verify it. A flight attendant requests permission from the hijackers to serve food to the passengers. The hijackers refuse, but agree to give each passenger a bottle of water. During water distribution, Arthur slips the diagram to the girl and instructs her to react based on the bullet's characteristics. After careful inspection, the girl confirms that the guns are loaded with blanks and signals this information to Sam. On the ground, Alice, who notices abnormalities in the flight's trajectory, contacts Zahar from the counterterrorism department. Zahar confirms the flight has been hijacked and organizes a multi-agency meeting to analyze the situation. They discover that 5 passengers on the flight are not registered in any national databases, leading them to suspect these individuals are the hijackers. On board, Sam and Hugo discuss targeting the weakest hijacker first. When a hijacker brutally beats a passenger for trying to retrieve medication for his uncle, Sam sees an opportunity. He asks Hugo to help subdue the white-haired hijacker. Hugo hesitates and backs out at the critical moment, leaving Sam to act alone. Sam seizes the moment when the white-haired hijacker is distracted, using a drawer to strike him and attempting to wrestle the gun away. Another passenger rushes to help, but the hijacker is exceptionally strong, and the two fail to overpower him. The white-haired hijacker retrieves the gun and points it at Sam. Undeterred, Sam taunts him, saying,
Pull the fucking trigger.
However, the hijacker leader Stuart has replaced the blanks with live ammunition and arrives at the back of the plane. A gunshot suddenly rings out, plunging the scene into chaos. To intimidate everyone, the hijacker leader Stuart shoots and kills a female passenger, spreading fear throughout the cabin. Sam is also restrained. The plane enters Romanian airspace, and ground staff repeatedly try to contact the captain to confirm the situation. Frustrated, Stuart smashes the communication headset and tosses it aside. Hijacker Lewis complains to Stuart about the killing, questioning its necessity. Stuart responds, "If we don't make an example, the passengers will lose control." Stuart notices that Lewis is injured and orders him to bandage his wound. Lewis goes to the back of the plane, removes his shirt, and discovers that his wound is bleeding profusely. Unable to handle the situation alone, the flight attendant gets a permit to free Sam to assist. Together, Sam and the flight attendant treat Lewis's wound, but he begins to lose consciousness due to excessive blood loss. Sam convinces Lewis to call his mother while he still can and helps him dial her number. Before doing so, Sam secretly activates his ex-wife Marsha's voicemail to record the conversation. At the same time, UK air traffic controllers spot 2 fighter jets near the plane, indicating the aircraft could be shot down at any moment, sacrificing all 216 passengers on board. The hijackers notice the jets outside and order the passengers to close all the window shades. Ground control issues another warning. The plane will be destroyed without the captain's response. One female hijacker panics, but Stuart remains calm, saying, "This is a flight to the UK, full of British citizens. Shooting it down would mean declaring war on Britain. Romania wouldn't dare." 2 restrained passengers tell the flight attendant that the fighter jets are not there to rescue them, but to stop them. They warn that if the plane approaches the Romanian capital, it will be shot down. The flight attendant tries to signal the jets for help through a window, but is caught by a hijacker. One of the fighter pilots seems to notice her distress signal. Realizing the severity of the situation, Captain Robin tells the hijackers they must communicate with the fighter jets. Stuart takes Robin to the cockpit, but the captain discovers that the headset is broken. Meanwhile, embassy staff work tirelessly to negotiate with the Romanian government, assuring them that the plane poses no threat. However, the Romanian authorities refuse to take risks that could endanger their capital. Back in the UK, Marsha, who is on a bus, receives Sam's voicemail and immediately forwards it to her boyfriend Daniel. On board the plane, Lewis's condition worsens and he struggles to breathe. A passenger, who is a doctor, suggests puncturing Lewis's chest to help him breathe, but hesitates to act. Sam takes charge, using a pen tube to pierce Lewis's chest, restoring his breathing. Unbeknownst to the hijackers, the fighter jets have already locked onto the plane, with missiles set to fire in 60 seconds. Analyzing the voicemail, Daniel confirms that the hijackers are British and deduces that their target is the UK, not Romania. He quickly passes this information to embassy staff, who relay it to the Romanian authorities just in time. As the fighter jet pilot prepares to launch a missile, a command to abort the attack comes through the radio. The 200-plus passengers on board are temporarily saved, but the hijackers' ultimate objective remains a mystery. Stewart goes to the back of the plane and confirms that the man in the orange-red outfit is a doctor. He orders everyone else to leave. However, as Sam is about to be taken away, something the injured Lewis mutters catches his attention. Sam draws a flag back at his seat and asks Hugo what country it represents. The neighboring girl tells him it's Hungary. Meanwhile, the UK Home Secretary receives a threat from the terrorists, demanding the release of 2 imprisoned drug cartel leaders, or all 216 passengers on the plane will be killed. Sam recalls the injured hijackers' final words and deduces that Stewart and the injured Lewis are brothers. He approaches Stewart and tells him that Lewis's condition is critical. He won't survive for more than an hour unless the plane lands for medical attention. Stewart immediately goes towards the back of the plane and seeks the doctor to verify Sam's claim. Taking the opportunity, Sam has the flight attendant secretly call the doctor and relay a coded message. Just as the doctor hangs up, Stewart enters. After confirming Lewis's condition, Stewart decides to save his brother and brings the captain to the cockpit to prepare for landing. The destination is Hungary, and since only the co-pilot, Anna, speaks Hungarian, the hijackers allow her to handle the controls and communicate with ground staff. This plays into Sam's plan. Co-pilot Anna uses Hungarian to secretly communicate with ground staff, who agree to allow the plane to land and dispatch armed forces to the airport to rescue the hostages. Meanwhile, the 2 hijackers in the rear cabin become increasingly anxious about the landing, and even the injured Lewis shakes his head, signaling not to land. The doctor is puzzled, thinking landing would save Lewis's life, but Lewis's reaction suggests otherwise. The white-haired hijacker rushes to the back, threatening the doctor to tell Stewart that Lewis's life is not in danger and that landing is unnecessary. At this moment, Sam also enters the back cabin. The white-haired hijacker warns him to stop the landing, claiming that terrorists on the ground will harm his family if the plane lands. It is revealed that the ground-based terrorists have obtained information about Sam's family. 2 accomplices infiltrate the home of his ex-wife Marcia. They quietly open the door, enter the living room, and open a suitcase containing a handgun. Upstairs, Sam's son Kai sees what is happening and immediately realizes the danger. The intruders notice someone upstairs and rush up. Sam realizes the terrifying stakes. If the plane lands, his ex-wife Marcia and son Kai could be killed. He confronts Stewart again, telling him the plane cannot land. Stewart angrily demands, "You wanted the plane to land, and now you say it can't?" Sam explains that Lewis doesn't want the plane to land. Stewart goes to the back and finds that Lewis has removed the pen tube from his chest and has quietly passed away. Overwhelmed with grief, Stewart accepts the reality of his brother's death. Sam then notifies the cockpit to stop the landing. Co-pilot Anna has no choice but to abort the landing, and the plane returns to its original course. At this point, Stewart receives a message from the ground instructing him to kill a passenger and send a photo of the deceased back to them. Under pressure, the hijackers prepare to comply. As they are about to strangle a flight attendant with a belt, Sam intervenes just in time. He reminds them that they've already killed 1 passenger, and there's no need for more unnecessary deaths. Stewart recalls the female passenger who was previously shot and orders the crew to take a photo of her and send it to the ground. The request to send the photo comes from the 2 criminal leaders who were just released by the authorities. Following their demands, the police released the criminals and provided them with a car and a phone. However, as the criminals drove away, Daniel and his colleagues discreetly followed them. The criminals, seemingly prepared for this, stopped the car, handed the phone to Daniel, and warned him that continuing to follow them would lead to more deaths among the plane's passengers. Daniel receives the photo and forwards it to embassy staff shortly after. The embassy confirms that the deceased in the photo is indeed a passenger from flight KA-29. The kill shocks everyone. On board, Sam devises a new plan to unite the passengers against the hijackers. He arranges for a yogurt container with a unique mark to be passed discreetly from the front row to the back, signaling passengers to start preparing makeshift weapons for a coordinated counterattack. Meanwhile, the 2 released criminals on the ground encounter an unexpected roadblock during their escape. They demand the police remove it immediately, threatening to kill more passengers if their demands aren't met. When the roadblock remains, the criminals lose patience and order the hijackers on the plane to kill again. As Stewart prepares to shoot a female passenger, Sam tackles him, and the two engage in a fierce struggle. At that moment, a woman dressed in white calmly stands up and walks to the restroom. Inside, she ties her hair back with an elastic band, retrieves a handgun from her bag, checks the magazine, and loads it. After leaving the restroom, the woman briskly walks to the cockpit. Without hesitation, shoots the captain in the head. She then storms into the cockpit. The passengers, along with the hijackers, are left in utter shock by the sudden, unexpected turn of events. Sam confronts Stewart, asking if the woman in white is one of their accomplices. Stewart insists he doesn't know her. Meanwhile, the passengers in the cabin begin to fight back. Several passengers manage to overpower the white-haired hijacker and seize his gun. Sam tells Stewart that handing over his weapon is the only way to ensure his safety. Realizing it's impossible to kill all the passengers, Stewart reluctantly gives the gun to Sam. The passengers, now fueled by anger, attempt to retaliate against the hijackers. One even threatens Sam with the gun, but it turns out to be blank. Sam calms the passengers, assuring them that the hijacking threat has been neutralized. However, he warns them of an even greater danger. The woman in white is in the cockpit, adjusting the plane's course to crash it into London. Sam deduces the hijackers' true motive and tries to communicate with the woman in white via the plane's phone. However, she disconnects the line, refusing to give him a chance to speak. At the same time, embassy staff theorize that this hijacking isn't a simple terrorist attack, but rather a plot orchestrated by a mastermind aiming to profit from the airline's stock plummeting after a crash. Daniel calls Sam's son to confirm his safety. During the call, Kai subtly signals that he is in danger using a coded message. After hanging up, Daniel immediately informs his colleagues and requests backup. Calmly, he knocks on the door, claiming there's a fire in the building and everyone must evacuate immediately. The kidnappers, forced to leave with the crowd, are ambushed SWAT team as soon as they step outside. Kai is successfully rescued. At this moment, Sam contacts Alice on the ground, informing her that the plane is now under the control of a new hijacker named Amanda. He tells her he will try to negotiate with Amanda. Meanwhile, 2 Typhoon fighter jets are in position, ready to shoot down the plane if necessary to prevent it from crashing into the city center. Alice persuades officials to withdraw the fighter jets temporarily, and they finally agree. Elsewhere, the 2 released criminal leaders hide in a rundown yard. The bald man delays giving Amanda the crash order, hoping to drive the airline's stock even lower. Frustrated, the other leader subtly orders his subordinates to eliminate the bald man. Without receiving a command, Amanda has no choice but to continue flying. Sam attempts to communicate with Amanda and learns she has a daughter from her phone. He deduces Amanda is also being coerced into the hijacking. Through the plane's monitors, he tells Amanda that her daughter would not want her to do such things. Moved by Sam's words, Amanda begins to falter. She calls Sam and reveals that the kidnappers are holding her daughter hostage and will kill her if Amanda doesn't follow orders. Sam reassures her, pointing out that the kidnappers are ruthless and will kill her daughter regardless of her compliance. He emphasizes that the passengers on the plane are innocent and that she still has a chance to save over 200 lives. Seeing a family photo of the captain, Amanda is deeply moved and finally decides to cooperate. Amanda calls Sam and agrees to let him enter the cockpit alone. Once inside, Sam contacts Alice and requests her assistance in landing the plane safely. However, the plane's fuel runs out and the engines fail, causing Amanda to panic. Sam calms her and appeals to the ground officials, asking them to promise not to hold her accountable if the plane lands safely. The officials agree, stating that if Amanda was coerced, she will not face charges. Amanda regains her composure, and the plane prepares for landing. The flight attendants instruct passengers to fasten their seat belts, but the plane loses power, plunging the cabin into darkness. Although the backup power activates, the passengers remain terrified. An elderly man stands up to reassure everyone, gradually restoring calm in the cabin. Under Alice's guidance, Sam and Amanda work together to land the plane. Amidst intense anticipation, the aircraft finally touches down safely. Emergency vehicles, including ambulances and fire trucks, quickly arrive, and all passengers evacuate safely. Sam returns to the cabin to retrieve something, but the door suddenly shuts. Stewart has broken free from his handcuffs, and the gun from the cockpit is missing. Realizing the danger, Sam hides and waits for the right moment to act. He He ambushes Stewart when he is distracted, and at that moment, the police storm the cabin and successfully subdue Stewart. In the end, Sam single-handedly saves all the passengers on board, emerging as the hero of the ordeal. This concludes the Hijack Season 1 recap. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel, click the bell, and select all for more thrilling recaps. See you in the next video.